Aloha and welcome to the Joy of Crafting show brought to you by Ben Franklin Crafts. And you know, we've been doing a lot of leis because of graduation, but this is Hawaii, so you always want to have leis around. And we're going to share another lei from our new lei book, Volume 8. So I have the person who's going to show us how to make it. We have Joan from Pearl City here. Hi Joan, how are you doing?
Good, how are you, Joy?
I am so happy that you finally got to come on the show.
Yes.
I know it took us a while, but we're finally here because this is a beautiful lei.
Thank you.
What is it called again?
We call it the Silver Sword. Actually, David from our boss from Pearl City said, that looks like a silver sword. I went online and said, yeah, that looks like a silver sword.
It is really, really beautiful.
Thank you.
It is beautiful.
Thank you. We're going to work with a 5-inch doll needle.
Ooh.
And yeah, I don't think they'll let me on the airplane with it. What do you think? We sell them in the store. They're back with the sewing supplies. And I also use an extra strong upholstery thread, which we also sell in the store. And the first thing I want to do is give myself about 10 feet of thread.
Okay.
Now here's a body fact. From here to here, when you stretch your arms out, that's as tall as you are. So I am 5'6", and I want 10 feet, so I go like this, and I go like this. Adjust if you're smaller. Okay. Now I'm using the Fun Craft scissors, which we sell in the store, which is an inexpensive scissor, but very, very good. And if you want to keep it good for ribbon, you want to just cut ribbon and fabrics with it. And do not cut the wire edge ribbons because they'll put little dents and you'll feel it and you'll hate it. Okay, so we're going to thread the needle. Now I want to leave about a 6-inch tail on the end for when I'm finishing it. And I am going to show you how to finish it before I'm through. I'll make a big loop like this. I know sometimes in my classes they want to make a little loop. Make a big loop, go through 2 times, make a nice size knot on, wait a minute.
So you're doubling up the thread?
Yes, doubling up the thread like regular sewing.
Okay.
Okay. It's 1, it's 2.
2. Pull both and get about 6-inch tail.
Yep. And I got a nice knot.
Okay.
Another piece of equipment that all ribbon lei people use are clothespins. You can buy those in the store as well, in the hard crafts. And I'll put it in right at the knot, let the tail hang, and then I'm going to just turn it on like a bobbin. And at first I leave a little piece hanging because I'm anxious to get it down and start to see it happen. Now I'm using, in the store we have 7/8" red. I'm calling for 3/4 in the book, but 7/8 works just as well, just about that much. Okay. And a silver sheer, which is also 7/8. And now people have been, they go to the store and they say, what is she doing? What is she doing? Because they're not picking up, I guess, what I'm putting down over here. Now, here's another thing about ribbon. A lot of the ribbon leis in the instructions, they want you to measure.
Yes.
Oh, no.
And mark. Measure and mark.
Measure and mark. That's like nasty. Okay? So I use the picot ribbons with the little loops. And then I count on those instead of making a mark. So I'm placing this back to back. I'm working on the red side.
So you always put the sheer on the bottom? Or does it matter?
Well, I've never done it the other way, but if you look at it, you're seeing red. You're not seeing so much of the silver, right? So the silver is kind of an accent.
I see, okay.
So I'm going in the middle. In my directions, which I say is optional, you can draw a line straight down the middle. You can take a marker pen and just make a line. I eyeball it. That's my preference. You're never going to see the line, and you'll notice I am using black thread, and you can see that you never see the thread over there. Okay, so
you start from the top and you go down.
And I went down and I brought it up every other picot. Okay? And then when the hairy stuff.
Okay.
This is ombre ribbon, which is in the store. The green runs out fast, so you got to get in there on Friday when the truck comes in. And I'm going to cut pieces like this, and I'm going to show you how I cut them, because I'm the type of person who I I look at the ergonomics of what I do and say, how can I make this work fastest? So I put the ribbon up through these first 2 fingers like this. I pull it down like that. Again, one of those body measurements, and snip. And
so you're
snip.
not you're eyeballing again.
It's a just about, because we're imitating nature, and nature's not perfect, and it takes you a lot longer to be perfect anyway. So I'm just pulling them out like this. The ombre ribbon has 50 yards on it, and you're going to use between 40 and 50 yards.
Oh, okay. So
I mean,
most of
I
it.
can't tell you 387,000 pieces. I don't know how many pieces. I never counted. But I know you're going to use about that many in the yardage.
Okay.
Now, okay, I've taken the piece, I fold them in half, and I put it pointing down like that. And then I'm going to go down. I counted 2 picot, down 2.
And up.
Up 2. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side.
Oh, okay.
Fold it in half. Stick it in and point it up.
And then you count.
And I go down 2, up 2, and I'm keeping my bottom ribbon centered. I can just see the edge. Do you see the edge of that ribbon? You can just see it through there, so you kind of keep it centered with the other hand. In my classes, I always tell my students, you make both hands work. You know, no hitchhikers. And that one will go down.
So you just keep going back and forth?
That's it. And that's it. Here's one that I was working on. And I was already pulling it down. Oh, and by the way, too, as you work and you pull it down on the thread, then you let the thread out, usually 6 or 7 inches at a time. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll show you how that looks. Okay, here I am. I've got my needle full, and that's what I usually do, is fill my needle. And I've got some play down here. So I'm going to bring it down, and you don't have to be real nice to it. I say give it a good tug.
Okay.
You don't want to pull the clothespin off the end, but you want to pull it snug.
Okay.
Now you see these are all kind of regular looking, and then it gets all like that. And the only way that I always tell my students, make a decision which way you're going to turn it.
Oh, okay.
And it's just always going to turn the same way. And then those
So you're
things
just kinda
will work
twisting it?
out. Those things will work out. And then pull them down snug. Keep coming down with it.
So do you do this as you pull, as you
I
go
like
along?
to. I
Okay.
like to do it as I go along and keep it straight looking. But then sometimes when you let it down and you pull it down, you have to watch and make sure everything is still where you wanted it to be. So you're coming back and you're eyeballing it and saying, oh, that looks good. I like that.
So you continue doing this for the whole length?
Because sometimes it happens that as you work off a spool, there'll be a spot where the manufacturer might have joined 2 pieces, and they're usually, I cut that off and redo my own. Or this will have 25 yards in it, and you're going to use about 15. So you're going to need more. You don't want to waste that much ribbon. Okay, so here I am with my ribbon, and it's in 2 pieces. Yet another use for double stick tape. Okay, so I stick it on here and just try to match them up if I can.
Well, especially since you got the picots.
Right? And then when I sew through this, I do not push my needle through the double stick tape, even if it's a little bit off. It will never be detected. This one's about ready to be done.
Okay.
And you see I have it all pulled down. Need to pull out a little bit more. And since I know I'm done, I can let this all the way out to the knot. And I'm pulling it down to the knot. So you can see how it could get out of turn. Okay, now you see at the end, it doesn't want to go into that turn.
Right.
So I'm going to have to force it into the turning. And when I'm ready, just like when you're sewing, I want to make a knot, even though I have this Gigunda needle. I sew through maybe the last 3 creases
Okay.
and make a knot. And because it's never going to fall apart, I'm going to make another knot.
Well, thank you for sharing this. This is really great because, yeah, we have it in the book, but it's really great to actually see someone do it. And I know this has been a really eye-catcher for a lot of people. So I'm really glad you were able to come on and show how to do this.
Thank you.
And maybe you can come back and share some of your other leis that you
I would love to.
Thank you, Joan.
You're welcome.
Okay. Well, right now, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back.